In April of 2022, we purchased 12.5 acres of woodlands in East Texas to transform into our wild wax retreat. Let's take a walk around the property and check it out. So this is the front entrance. The road's right there on the right, and above us there's some power lines. And then you can see it just turns into woods. It's not a culvert or any way to get onto the property currently. Right here in the front, during the wet season or if it rains real bad, it can get kind of swampy. Neighbors have told me it does flood here sometimes. Here's what it looks like after a real heavy rain. Let's take a walk around and check it out. We're basically just walking north through the center of the property for the most part. On the east there's a creek that runs all the way up the side of the property, and we're just walking up the middle of the property here. This is a really big pine tree. You'll see some orange trail tape here. This is just marking my trail so I don't get lost, and so we can eventually make this a much better trail that's cleared out and easier to walk through. Through the trees there's actually a deer blind. You can't, hard to pick up on camera there. The deer feeder is right here. So it's a little wet right there, so it can get a little muddy in this front part. Pretty flat all in this front part right here. You can see it's flooded a little bit on the left hand side right there. Couple flooded areas right there, but there actually is a culvert underground running right through there, coming out the other side right here, and you can see the water running through it, and it goes down to the creek on the east side of the property there. So probably gonna clean that up a bit so that water can flow out of that culvert better. It's pretty clogged up right now. And after that culvert, tuning up north, the property starts going up in elevation. Basically the rest of the way it just keeps going up, pretty gradual, maybe about 50 feet total. There is a dry creek bed right here. And you can see we're just going uphill this whole time. Big fallen pine tree right here. And then this little spot is where I camped initially, the first time. Probably the initial campsite will set up. Maybe 2/3 of the way in, maybe a little less than that. You see it's got a good view down that way. keeps going up further into the property. You do have a really good view looking out this way. That's the that dried up creek bed we passed through earlier. And you just got a good view all the way around here. It's a great spot. And it looks like we had some visitors come by, possibly maybe a deer or a pig, I'm not sure. Quite a few game trails. Tons of these prickly vines that are super annoying. And there's also a old hog cage or hog trap. This is what I like to call Pine Hill. It's basically all pine trees up in this section. And this is the other deer blind. And this is the highest point of the property, which is at the very back of it, the very north side. This metal post right here is the property line on the north. We're not in the corner, we're about the center of the north side. And if we look to the east here, there's actually an electric post right there, basically on the property line. And then the exact opposite direction, it was farther down there. But let's take a walk down this power line. So I'm walking just right along the property line here. And it goes up to the second electric post. This one's 5, maybe 10 feet onto my property. And then it leads off to a pole that goes straight onto my property. So, but we can see here, looks like this pine tree has fallen on the power line, and the power line's holding this tree up. So I'm going to go around this. Yikes. It's holding that whole tree up. It's going to this third and final electric pole. Property line goes down that way. Here's the final electric post where the power ends. Need to get this all fixed up here.
Ripped it off the post. Not like this last time I was here.
And then surprise, surprise, there's an old collapsed house back here. I don't know if it's just like a hunting cabin or what. Not much to it left. It was built too close to the creek. The ground moved and it pulled it down. That tree that's in the back right there is basically holding it up. After that, it's a pretty steep drop down into the creek. And finally, here's the creek along the east side of the property. So that's it for our tour. See y'all around.